Good afternoon and welcome into Drag Race Central. I'm your host, Randall Shue.
I'm your co-host, Landon Shue.
Landon, good to be back here on another wonderful Saturday afternoon. You know, it's going to be, it was kind of overcast today. We had a little bit of rain this morning. Got some stuff coming in. I just checked the weather and it looks like it's the main body of this storm coming in is over about Oxford, Mississippi. So it is coming in maybe starting rain at 8 or 9 o'clock, and going to be possibility of some bad stuff. So just don't be scared of it. Just be weather aware. Just respect weather a great deal. So we do live inside, so it's just not that big a deal. Anyway, just leave yourself an opportunity to hear if any weather reports come in. Just make sure you're listening. Anyway, drag racing. You know, there's not a whole lot of drag racing going on this time of year. We've got a project going on right now, and Landon's trying to get us on record us because we're going to go Facebook Live at some point. Now, we had my computer last week, and he said it turned out pretty bad. So he's got his computer this week. Well, maybe it'll be a lot better.
We're going to try it at least.
Anyway, we've got one more week to go, and then we're going to take off for Christmas and New Year's. We'll try to do a best of. I think next week, we talked about next week, we'll do best of. We'll try to take a story from each one. You know, we're approaching 7 years we've been doing this, and we've had some pretty interesting stories, and we'll try to put them things together. That way you can hear some of these things. But that'll be next week. Now this week, there's not a lot of racing going on. So what I decided to do is put together a list. Everybody likes a list. Put together a list of things that people have told us that they think that we believe, but we know better. See if any of these things, anything sounds familiar. My streetcar runs 460s at 160 miles an hour.
That sounds a little familiar.
Really? Being one of the guys that get an opportunity to go up in the tower and see the ETs, no, they don't. I would never tell what these cars actually go, but 460s at 160, not happening. All right. Here's your one this is from the archives, Landon. You lay $100 bill up on that dash, and I'll take off, and you won't be able to get it.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Of course, you think about with 7, 10, 14 tires, that's something like that thing was probably maybe 5 inches wide. Then the Castler, this has some big Castler pie plate tires and some recaps and all that kind of stuff. The cars are so ill handling is the reason you couldn't grab the $100. They would not go. A fast car in the 60s. I mean, one that was wicked would run into 14s in a quarter. I remember my dad was we went over to this guy's house, and he got talking about, this guy's got the fastest thing over in Newcastle area. He had a 55 Chevrolet. We went for a ride in it. Of course, I was probably 7 or 8 years old, and I was scared to death. It was loud and kind of stuck with me. That stuff never did go away. But the cars were not that fast, and the $100 on the dash. The reason the cars were so ill handling, you're just probably scared of your life. Is how come you couldn't get that $100?
Yeah. No, it's definitely the force of driving so fast.
Well, they wind these babies up to 6,000 or 7,000 and sidestep the clutch on that old Muncie. And the fact that the transmission or the rear end or the drive shaft or anything that stayed in it was the amazing part. All right, here's your new one. Now, last year we were at the World of Wheels. You know, we had the Corvette down there. And Richard Oettinger had his blown Hemi 37 Chevrolet parked in front of us. So we had 2 Pro Mod cars in our booth. And we'll have 2 more, have 2 different ones this year. But anyway, there's a guy come up, him and his dad, and this was a grown man. This was not a child. This was a grown man. He said, my bike will outrun both them cars. I said, good Lord, what have you got? He said, I got a Harley. Really? I said, and you ride this thing? And, oh, yeah. And it'll outrun these cars. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
I said, no, it won't. You do realize who you're talking to? You know, my car run way in the 6s in the quarter, and the 37 will run somewhere in the 5s in the quarter mile. A Harley? No. So anyway, I said, what you need to do is go back to your little clubhouse, and y'all lie to each other, but in the real world, no, it won't. So anyway, we had that discussion. That was kind of interesting. Guy, both of our Pro Mod cars are faster than the top fuel Harleys, and this guy had something that he could ride around in. So anyway, that was interesting. Here's your new one. I was at Gardendale Performance one day. This guy come in a 78 Nova 4-door. Just they dug it out of somebody's backyard, and it was just old hoopty. The whole car there. I mean, it was a pretty cool old driver. He come in and he was talking. He said, my car run 187 miles an hour.
187 miles an hour.
I said, good Lord, what motor's in that thing? Because, sleepers, I'm all about some sleepers.
I agree.
You could have popped the hood and had a 600-inch motor in the thing. Who knows?
Oh, sure.
Nope. 352 barrel. I said, and how fast did you say? He said, 187.
Look, if you push it 187 miles an hour, I'm sure it'll run 187.
If you push it out of an airplane, it won't run 187. Terminal velocity is about 125. Is fast as stuff will fall. So anyway, that was another thing that he was saying that his car would go, how fast it would go.
Absolutely. Hey, we're on Facebook Live now.
We are.
Yes, I'm assuming this is going to work well enough. I think everything's working right now.
Really? So should we say hello?
Hi there. Yeah, I'm gonna have to adjust one of these lights during one of the breaks.
Am my forehead shiny or something?
You're just about as pale as a ghost.
I got a story about that. I did some commercials years ago for Virginia College, the Virginia Tech down in Pelham.
Okay.
So after work, I went down there, and they sit you in this thing and put your makeup on and all the things that
get you nice and pretty.
But because the lights bleach you out so bad. So we did the commercials, and it was a really interesting process.
Right.
I was on air probably 2 minutes. It took 2 hours to make that 2 minutes. So anyway, we got through, and those good guys and all that stuff. So it was probably 8:30-ish, So I started home from Pelham, down on 31, just before you get to the hospital. So I'm riding along. I said, man, I'm hungry. So I went into a fast food place, and I'm ordering my food, and everybody starts looking. I thought, what are they looking at? I had pie makeup on. Oh, I said, wait, I just did some commercials. That's the reason I guess they thought I was just trying to be kind of fluffy.
No, you're just trying to look. You're trying to look your best.
I was under the makeup, but I forgot about that. I forgot to wipe it off.
You got to scrape it off.
You use a road grader to get it off. It was
road grader. Okay.
It was thick. Had another guy come in. They're at Gardendale Performance. I'll hang out there from time to time. Matter of fact, that's my home away from home. It's actually Floyd's barbershop for car guys.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, guy comes in. He says, yeah, he's driving a Lexus. He said, yeah, had a Lexus out there. I ran in the 10s in the quarter mile up there at Laster Mountain. I said, really? In a quarter mile? Oh, yeah, that thing will fly.
He had a time machine.
I said, you run a quarter mile at Laster Mountain? He said, oh, yeah, boy. I said, they quit running quarter mile at Laster Mountain in the 70s. I don't even remember. It was way before me. I'm thinking 74-ish to... Anyways, in the mid-70s.
You didn't know that thing not only would run the 10s, but it was also a time machine.
Back to the Future. So that's another one running the tens. Now, if it had been, I'd been to Steele or I'd been to Montgomery, they have quarter-mile times set up.
Absolutely, yes.
Laster Mountain at one time was quarter-mile. There's been all top fuel up there, and I can't imagine being in a top fuel car even in the 60s and running that fast and trying to stop. Ooh. So that would be quite interesting.
Well, actually, you're already there.
I am. I actually run faster than a top fuel car.
Back then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting. So
Well, let's see. Now, look, you're talking about sayings. I remember every old guy I run into who's an old hot rodder who's just got out of the thing tell me about their old 69 would have absolutely outran
any of this new stuff.
anything that's new, while a Toyota Camry would lap
Yep.
anything from back then.
All right. These guys come up telling all that stuff. Me and your mom lived in some apartments before we got our first house built. We lived in some apartments, and I had this 69 Chevelle. So I drive this thing back and forth to work. It wasn't about 3 miles to work, Gas
Sure.
gas is 35 cents, 40, 50 cents. It didn't
It's
matter.
higher, Yeah.
So anyway, people next door, there was a woman and her dad lived in this apartment next door to us. So I'm out there peeling my old car. Here come Pawpaw out. Oh, good Lord, here we go. He said, yep, I used to race.
Everybody used to race. Everyone.
And he is, I never got outrun. We had the fastest thing. But this guy said something that made me change my mind. He said, we had a car several years ago. Me and my buddies, there's 3 of us. We spent every dime we could come up with. Beg, borrow, steal, whatever. We spent every dime. The car finally broke in the tens in the quarter mile. I said, good Lord, I'm talking to a racer. That is the way it works.
Yeah.
So that was
Scraping together, end up with some junk. That's just how racing goes.
It really is. All right, here's your one. Here's another one. Here's another one. Y'all probably have heard this. I got the fastest street car in Alabama.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's I know who has, and I hadn't talked to that guy. So and this is from 20 years ago. People talking about I've got the fastest thing. Me and my dad were over at the airport one day. I had a 70 Z28 427 nitrous carb, so I'd drive it.
Right.
So me and Daddy going flying. So I went in and checked me in. I was still renting a plane at the time. There's a guy come around the corner out there where the planes are in a Pantera, a Ford DeTempesco Pantera.
Okay.
Pretty cool little cars.
Yeah.
Those things had 351 Clevelands, which 335 horse maybe on a good day. Well, he pulled around to the front where the airplanes were, got out because he's too cool for it anyway.
Right.
He came in, and the little girl behind the counter was a receptionist. She was not pleasant as can be.
Sure.
So he kind of bellied up to the counter there. He said, that's the fastest car there is in Alabama. Well,
Always is.
with me standing right beside him, I said, well, I tell you what, I got a pocket full of $100 bills, and I'll bet whatever you can stand,
Sure, yeah.
I don't think you do. And Daddy said, no, we're going flying. I said, well, I can make enough money right here to pay for our flying trip. Oh, you don't want none of this. What do you got? I said, if you're the fastest, it don't matter. I'm ready.
Absolutely.
He kind of shut him down. I said, I'm not the fastest. I can outrun that thing, but I'm not the fastest. So outrun that won't be a 427 with nitrous. Actually does pretty good.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, that was kind of interesting. So
have you seen? There's a company. We'll talk about it after this.
All right. Hey, we'll get into the weeds, looking for that lost ball in high weeds. We'll be right back on Drag Race Central.
Welcome back in. This segment's to be brought to you by Ray's Drive Shafts, located at 1417 Decatur Highway in Fultondale, Alabama. Ray's the man. If you need a drive shaft made, tubular spindles, or
no prop shaft.
Prop shafts.
Propeller shaft is actually what a drive shaft is actually called.
Sure. Give him a call down at 256-572-7485. Open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Ray's the man. Hey, he can smell a drive shaft on you.
Smell a failure.
If you have one in your pocket, I guarantee he can tell you if you have one or not.
Something else. We've got a bunch of advertisers, and we appreciate what everybody has done for us. Keeps us on the air. But make sure when you go to one of our advertisers, make sure you tell them you hear about them, you heard about them on the show.
Hey, absolutely. Hey, speaking of our show, we also are on Facebook Live right now on 101.1 Drag Race Central.
That is scary.
People have videos of you right now. How does that make you feel?
Special. Very special.
Look, you might say we're not pretty enough for TV, but you're pretty enough for the internet.
Really?
Yeah.
I could stink up the internet.
Hey, good job.
Well, it is. All right, let's get back to some more of this fun stuff. You know, we're lost ball in high weeds, just about normal. All right. Say we're at the track. Actually, used to be at the street races.
Okay.
35th Avenue North.
I would never.
I've only heard about it.
Yeah.
No.
Friend of a friend.
In my world, the statute of limitations run out.
Mine haven't. So.
Okay. We're on 35th Avenue North. If you go down 26th Street, which is 31 Highway, into Fultondale, and then Fultondale, then New Georgia, and then Birmingham, you drop off down North Birmingham School is on 31st.
Okay.
Take a left, go out 31st, and go out there about 3 or 4 blocks. Go across 3 or 4 of the nastiest railroad tracks you've ever been across. Get on the other side of it, and the road turns 5 lanes wide, and there's not much out there, except it's industrial, commercial. Used to be Sloss Industries out there. Mm-hmm. Well, you get out there, and there was I don't even know what the business was on the right. Anyway, the place you could park, and it's late at night. You know, your mom worked at night. I ain't got nothing to do. So I'm down there, and anyway, that particular night wasn't a whole lot of fast cars out. Mm-hmm. I had my 280Z with a blown big block in it, and I'm driving it. It's kind of parked over there out of the way. You couldn't really see it.
Sure.
So the guy on a bike comes up. He's like a 750-ish, about that size. Wasn't one of the real big ones.
All right.
He come up, and I'm just standing there, you know, I'm minding my own business, and he said, "Boy, there ain't nothing out here to run tonight, is there?" I said, "Well, there might be." "What do you got?" I said, "My little Z car over there." He said, "I'll run you." Okay. We got out there, and they flagged us off. You thought his motor quit. I outrun him so bad. I mean, 30 cars. It was bad. So I turned around and come back over there. He said, "Well, I tell you what, my brother's got a so-and-so. He'll outrun you." I said, "Well, you might all go get him, because that thing you got ain't got enough." So that's to say that. You're up there, you're hanging out. Somebody comes up talking to your car. Says, "You know what? My brother or cousin got a fast car. As soon as he gets it put back together, we're going to come outrun you."
Yeah.
I don't know how many times.
No. I told you. One's very popular nowadays is, I got a Pro Mod car at home. Yes. It's always at home. You notice that. Never
bring it. Wait a minute. We do that. Anyway. I worked for Courtesy Pontiac years ago. And as you can tell, being a mechanic, the reason mechanics' toolbox have wheels on them is where you can roll out like you rolled in. Did you know that? You didn't know that, but anyway,
that's a new one on me.
Even got some of them now got trailer hitches on them.
That way you can pull behind.
That's right. So there was a salesman, and car salesmen are a different breed, especially new car salesmen. Anyway, you know, I'm a lowly mechanic. This guy comes in. He knew I flew racing. He said, "You know, I got a Pro Mod car." I said, "You do? Oh, good Lord!" You know, he got my attention. We talked a little while because, you know, he was typically talking down to me because I was just a mechanic. But anyway, talking down to me pretty hard. I said, "Good Lord, how fast that thing?" He said, "They run 680s." I said, "Ooh, that's pretty good." I said, "Wait a minute, in the quarter?" He said, "Oh no, in the eighth." "In the eighth? You ain't got a Pro Mod car, you got a bracket car. My street car runs 540s. "Really?" I said, "Yeah, you ain't got, get out of here. You ain't got a Pro Mod car." So anyway, that's...
He felt like it was one. It's up there with the best.
I guess so. Another guy, a wholesaler, came in, had about a 61 or 2, 3, something like that. Yeah, that's 61 or 2 Corvette. Pretty nice little car, 04 speed. I'm sure it's a 327. Yeah, just a car. Come in there, of course, he couldn't afford a battery. He parked in the shop where we could jump him off. He said, "Hey, I tell you what, me and you go to Steel, I'll let you drive that thing." I said, "I don't drive that thing. I got a fast car." He said, "You faster than that?" I said, "Come on, man. That's
By a long shot.
it's got 250 horsepower." No.
Hey, that's a lot if you're used to like 170.
All right, I guess you're right.
Now, look. All those Honda guys, whenever they get into a Camaro or something like that, something that actually take off, it breaking necks out here.
Yes.
And it's a stock Camaro. It's all about what you're used to.
I get that's right. If you've got a fast car, unless you just outrun John Force, you could have been faster.
That's true.
Here's your one. My car's so fast it does second gear wheelies. This is a GT Mustang. I said, "Really?" "Oh yeah. You hit the nitrous on front wheel, that thing could come up." I said, "Well, you better check your car because there's something wrong with it. Because cars don't do wheelies in second gear, especially a GT Mustang." If you've got a
not low performance cars.
If you've got a 5,000 horse screw blown Hemi, 3,000 horse screw blown Hemi,
It'll do second gear.
well, if it'll run 120 in low.
But still, it will do a second gear wheelie.
So that's a different animal. And those things will take flight. You see some of the crash videos.
They do go tumbling time to time.
But the guy I'm talking about, he had a shiny car.
Yeah.
My car do second gear wheelies. Your T5 transmission in your GT Mustang,
No, T5 will not.
you'll have billet gravel in the bottom of the case.
The amount of torque that would require would absolutely shatter it.
Oh yeah, you going and it had like steel belted radials on it. Not even drag radials. That thing's pretty wicked. This had show car tires. Really? So anyway, that was
Some Pirellis.
Let's see. I've got some good stuff.
Okay, what else you got? See, look, what happens to me all the time is, well, let me go get this other car and we can really race. But that car never shows up, if you noticed.
Here's your one. There was a guy who worked at a tune-up shop over in Centerpoint.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd call the name of it. It's been gone for years. He had about a 77 or 8 long wheelbase Chevrolet truck. It had a small block in it.
Okay.
He used to come to the track all the time. He was up there working on this thing, and it would buck the starter. Timing is, I wouldn't say it's a few degrees. It's a half inch too high. Oh, yeah.
Well, you need to count in degrees or count it by the inch now.
Oh, yeah. Well, so what he'd have to do is turn the timing down to reasonably normal, get it cranked, and he'd reach over and grab the vacuum advance and just wind that distributor around. He said, "Boy, if I could get the timing high enough, this thing would fly." Boys and girls, that ain't the way it works.
No, that's how you have something called spark knock.
Yeah, and
you crack a piston.
and you let the magic smoke out of the motor.
Absolutely.
All right, here's your one. My carburetor's too big, so I'm gonna jet it down.
Usually you hear it's too small.
It don't work that way.
No, see, usually you hear it's too small. It needs a big carburetor. It really pick up then.
But you can change the jets and make it smaller. No, you can't. It won't work.
Yeah, no.
Airflow is airflow.
Air to fuel ratio is air to fuel ratio.
That's right. You'll start leaning that thing down, and it won't crank cold. And you have to, if you ever get it fired up, you have to run it up to about 2,000, 2,500 for a few minutes to get enough heat in the motor for it to run. Dang old Holly.
Sounds about right.
Hey, dang old Holly, you ought to be able to kick the gas, fire it up, and clear the motor, and it sit there and idle. If it's pretty close, that's exactly what it'll do.
That's what one out of the box will do.
Oh yeah, it works. Like a Holly comes about 20% rich. There's no way of knowing except you go to a place like down to Skunk Works, then go down and put your car on their hub dyno.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about, last week was the first time we've talked about Skunk Works. Our buddy Steve down there.
Yeah, he seems to be happy with us.
He said his phone is rang off the hook.
Good. Let's make sure
Grid.
that he has to turn it off at the end of the night.
Grid ARC modules or ARC module is a Davis traction control. They can you program your grid. They got a deal where they'll provide you or sell you a computer with all the stuff on it, and about a 20-foot lead. All you got to do is run your lead out to your car. You don't have to take your computer out of the trailer.
Right.
So that there's a lot of value to that. But you can give Skunk Works a call, 796-5571 down the Woodstock area. Just tell them you heard about here on
Leave a
Drag
voicemail
Race
if you
Central.
have to.
That'll work. We'll be right back on Drag Race Central.
Hey, speak of VP, have you taken your Maserati down to Ray's and let him imagine what that drive shaft looks like?
It don't really have a drive shaft.
Let's hear it.
Kinda.
Does it have couplers?
I don't know. It's encased in it's got a torque tube.
Okay.
So there's a shaft in there with probably Gubo clutches on both ends.
Nah, I remember how that goes.
Uh,
That was the biggest nightmare clutch job I've ever done in my life.
oh yeah.
I should have pulled the motor.
So anyway, I'm not going to go ask Ray to fix me a wobble shaft for my Maserati. Thank goodness there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
So-
Well, fortunately, whenever I get a hold of it, it's not getting a drive shaft again.
So
When I get a hold of it, it's going onto a trans clutch
oh yeah,
or whatever they call those Porsche transmissions.
Triptonic.
Triptonic.
Yeah. You're thinking about taking my cute little car apart.
As soon as I get me a 911, you're gonna have to.
So I'm gonna come out
You're gonna have
in
to
the
start
morning.
putting security codes on it.
So I'm gonna come out in the morning and my car won't start.
Gonna do nothing. I'll put you like a Honda 4-cylinder in it, get good fuel
Well,
mileage.
you go over to Harbor Freight and get me one of them 5.5 or 6.5 Predator motors.
Yeah.
$99, baby.
You know, hey, 300 cc's is plenty.
212.
212, even better.
6.5 blistering horsepower.
Imagine all the fuel mileage you'd get. It gets a gallon per hour.
Well, you know, I could push it out in the front yard. I'd have yard art.
You already got some of that.
Oh, I got yard art. I got pimping claws at my house. Not Santa Claus, but pimping claws.
Pimpin' claws.
I've got a Lamborghini Diablo body.
It's got some Vogue wheels. What are those Vogues?
No, Kragers.
Kragers. You got some
Oh.
Krager wheels. He's
I drug this thing out to the front yard. Of course, my house is about 500 feet off the road. But anyway, got a Lambo in the front yard, and I looked out in the storage building, found a couple of mag wheels.
Mm-hmm.
Put mag wheels on my Santa Claus, and Hottie ordered a light up Santa Claus. So we got him hung in the driver's window. So it looks like Santa Claus is driving a Lambo.
Santa Claus is doing pretty good for himself.
He is.
I guess he cut back on the pay for the elves.
Yeah, he might have.
Hey, VP Racing Fuel, it's a great time of year to get it because you ain't using a lot of it. So you have plenty of time to store it back.
Christmas gifts.
Christmas gifts. Buy it for your friends and your family. And if
2 or
they
3.
if they can't use it, just hold on to it for them.
Well, buy it for them and then use it for them.
Yeah.
Buy your wife a couple of pails of VP fuel.
Darling,
And-
no. See, look, she wants you to get out of the house, get out of her hair. So you buy her that and say, look, I'll be out using this, giving you plenty of quiet time here at the house.
Great idea.
Hey, I think it's pretty good.
You know, how about in getting, you know, we got Christmas coming up. A couple of pails of VP. How about also go down and buy him some time down at the dyno, down at Skunk Works. Duh.
I'm sure by now he'll probably do some gift cards.
Heck yeah. Well, just send cash. He'll be all right.
He'll send cash.
And some barbecues.
That's it.
Oh, so we got that type. You know, we've got Brandon down at Wholesale Transmission. He might.
He got some 117 octane.
I was down the other day. He didn't have any.
He's out.
I was looking everywhere.
He'll have to get some more.
Wait a minute. Now, I want you to know
He'll have some by Monday. He'll go out
there
and see him.
is a 117, and I think it's an off-brand, and I won't call a name, but it is off. There is a 117. I've never used it.
So, and he's got it exclusively.
Hid in the back.
Okay.
Only Pontiac.
Don't take
drive
no
it.
for an answer. You heard the man. Best for turbo motors.
Yep. So anyway, like home place, MTO Motors, go over and see those people, and they help us.
Now VP, you're gonna have to go to a lot of places.
They got a lot of places.
If you're gonna go see all of them,
Hey, just get close.
Yeah, just go to any of them. Just one's fine. Maybe two if you're a really busy guy.
Mm-hmm.
NVS Auto, DG Motorsports, Gardendale Performance, Off-Road Connections, Coleman Discount Muffler. I think we're going to be back at Laster Mountain.
Well, there's no tracks open.
Yeah, I think we're going to be back at Laster Mountain.
No, they actually Laster Mountain has their own VP deal.
Okay.
Because they
don't go there.
They're actually out of Gunnersville.
Okay.
So it's still VP. Everything's fine.
Don't shop there. Shop at Baileyson.
Oh, go up, scratch off somewhere.
Yeah, you only go to the ones that pay me.
That'll work. But anyway, that's neat. A lot of Christmas time. 2 pails, minimum 2 pails.
Minimum. So that's 10 gallons. That'll get you 30 passes.
Oh, it's a bunch.
Unless you drive something like ridiculous.
I guess you're right. Well, the Pro Mod car uses less VP fuel than my 280Z did. You know that?
It's lighter.
No, it don't run as long.
That's true. I did a burnout. It does get pulled everywhere.
I burn out and run and come. When you get down to the end of the track, you shut it off and they pull you back to.
It's a pull queen.
Idling uses a lot more than when you're wide open throttle.
Yeah, it's a pull queen for sure.
Hey, especially the guys who run alcohol. You can fire one up on alcohol, take your fuel lid off, and look. You can watch the fuel go down physically.
Yeah.
Because you run a 3 or 4 gallon sail, 2 or 3 gallon, whatever it is. And
I remember you hassled me for a little bit whenever I put that 5 gallon fuel cell in the back of my green car. And you said it's only 5 gallons. I said it gets 80 miles a gallon. That's 400 miles.
So you'd be fine.
If I run out, I deserved it.
Well, on that deal, you put fuel in it twice a month. Well, so what?
Actually, I might put one of those a clear tube.
Oh yeah.
Build a gauge on it.
That would be. You know what kind of car that came on? Model A.
Model A. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It had gravity fuel tank. The tank was at the in front of the windshield in the cowl area. So the carburetor was gravity feed, and it had a tube inside the car with you that showed the level of the fuel.
There actually are drop-in kits I could look into.
Oh yeah.
You could drop them in there, and they will give you a reading.
You could also put a tank unit in it, which is very simple on an aftermarket deal.
They're $120.
Oh, now how about this?
I don't have anything in that car that costs $120 yet.
I wonder how much I paid for the fuel cell. It was more than that.
It didn't cost me that.
I've noticed that.
Now, to be fair, that car is gone.
Where?
That thing came out of. It was in the Lamborghini.
No.
The 5 gallons in the Lamborghini.
Oh yeah, I guess it sure was.
And it's torn to pieces.
Well, there's only a body left.
And
the chassis gone.
Brake master cylinder came from Lamborghini.
There's not much left of that little project.
No, not brake master cylinder. Clutch master cylinder. It came from Lamborghini.
Okay.
Clutch pedal is probably going to be the most expensive part I bought in a while.
Okay.
$100.
Ooh. So, interesting. So anyway, I've got some horsepower math for you today.
Okay.
There's something called the powered to boost formula.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got a motor, engine's correct. Motor is electric, engine is combustion.
That is correct.
All right. If you've got an engine that makes 350 horsepower, whatever the number is.
Right.
If you now we run atmospheric pressure, 14.7 to 1 is our fuel rate, is our atmospheric pressure.
Right.
Plus or minus, whatever the
sea level?
That's sea level.
Mm-hmm.
That's 29.92 inches of mercury and 59 degrees temperature and dry air and all this. Anyway, that's the international standard day. Anyway, so if you've got a 350 horse motor at atmosphere, if you put 14.7 pounds of boost in it,
you're going to double it.
Motor will make nominally 700 horsepower. The way you calculate this, you take you put the horsepower of the engine down, and then you divide the boost pressure in PSI divided by 14.7 plus 1 will give you the horsepower potential of that motor. I know I was watching Steve Morris engines. They had a twin turbo motor they were doing, but no turbos. They just put the engine up as a SMX. They put the engine up there and just ran it and make sure there's no leaks, and just make sure everything's all right. This motor is a 572. It made right at 1,000 horsepower. Low compression, turbo cam, the whole works. Well, you take 30 or 40 pounds of pressure. Do the math. This thing makes 30-something hundred horsepower.
I just figured out how much the green car has in horsepower then. I messed some stuff up.
None.
No, I messed this stuff up, and it makes like 14 pounds of boost.
But this don't work on diesels.
Oh.
This is only on gasoline.
I was about to say, we're talking 100 horsepower.
Not even on a good day. This thing was
it has 53 stock.
64. I think it was a 64 horse motor.
Yeah, and you're gonna
the turbo and intercooler
plus or minus minus 20% for inefficiency.
Yeah, and
and then you double it at 15 pounds. We're talking 100 horsepower.
Maybe. Anyway, that's
big numbers.
I know that I have wound that thing out.
I'm going to change it from 100 mile per gallon to 100 horsepower.
Let
challenge.
me tell you, I've had that thing. I mean, I was jamming gears.
Mm-hmm.
Wide open throttle. I looked to the side, and Meemaw was in her Honda pulling off, leaving me.
That's why we turboed it.
That's after I turboed it.
No, I fixed that, though.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Okay.
That was some boost leaks.
Well, anyway, that'll give you an idea. Generally, on a low horsepower motor, you'll get 35 to 40 horsepower per pound of boost. Some of your high end stuff on the Cletus McFarland, they've got one. They're getting about 100 pounds. 100 horsepower per pound of boost.
100 pounds. That would be impressive.
Well, and something else, they've got a scramble button. They're down there getting close to the end of the track, and they're behind. They're mashing, and it'll add about 5 pounds of boost. So anywhere from 300 to 500 horsepower is what it's adding on some of the high end. But you basically you're gonna get 30 or 40 horsepower per pound of boost. And how about boost is a measurement of restriction.
Yes. It shows you how much power it's not accepting.
That's backing up in the manifold. That's why you have them big motors with a lot of a lot of airflow capacity. That's how can you get so much more power per pound of boost.
More CFM.
You got that right, because it takes air to make power, and you add the correct amount of fuel, and that's where horsepower comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Over a period of time. Torque comes as you're measuring torque over a period of time, it gives you horsepower.
Okay.
So that's kind of the way that works. So that gives you some kind of idea. Normally aspirated horsepower, and you take the pounds of boost divided by 14.7 plus 1 will give you the horsepower potential of the motor.
In gasoline.
On gasoline, that's right. Now that's actually on turbos. Now superchargers will kindly work, but the problem is with a supercharger, you cannot measure the parasitic loss of actually spinning the supercharger.
Right, because you're going to have vacuum pull on the turbines, and you're going to have the turbine mechanical load.
And there's
a lot goes
weight
into it. Yeah.
And then a roots blower is even more than that. It takes a bunch of power. They say on a top fuel car, it takes 800 plus horsepower to turn the supercharger just to make the power. Of course, if you've got 12,000, what's 800 among friends?
Yeah.
They can't use all the power they've got.
So that's why they got to use some on a supercharger, so they make even more.
Years ago, some guys tried to turbo top fuel car. There's no rules.
Sure.
You can do it if you want to.
Sure. Won't work.
The problem, with current technology, it didn't
Correct.
work. Now you got a linear boost curve with a root style blower. The faster it goes, the more boost it makes. some of your Pro Mod cars with the screw blowers will make 65 pounds of boost. A top fuel car uses a 1471, and actually there's a let's see, trying to think what the there's actually 65 square inches what the opening of your scoop can be. 65 square inches, that's what they're restricted to. So they're making a roots blower will not make as much boost as a screw blower. But it's, it might be 40, 50 pounds, but I know the screw blowers are 65 pounds of what they're making.
You can't use a turbo anyways, according to that lady there in Huntsville. You're not a fast car unless you use a supercharger.
I know it.
You're not a Pro Mod car unless you're using a supercharger.
It had to have been in the 80s. Some guys decided it was going to turbo top fuel car. It never worked because it went from no boost to full boost in 8/100ths of a second.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't control it.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I hear music in the background. Let's go out and take a break. We'll be right back on Drag Race Central. Welcome back into Drag Race Central, and welcome in to our viewers there on Facebook Live. Hey, Donna, I'm going to wave at her. That's my buddy Donna over there. Snack Lady.
Snack Lady.
Snack Lady is, she's not really in the house, but she's online.
She can see us.
That's scary. You and I have faces for radio.
That's why we're on radio.
Oh, I guess you're right. There's some terms hasn't been used in a long time that were very, very common, and here we are back in the day. How about this?
Back in the day, sure.
I'm gonna flip my air cleaner lid upside down. Listen to that Quadrajet.
That's some back in the day stuff there.
Man, that was. You can ease around. Well, the sound of a Quadrajet. Man, it is right close to the heart. Now, Thermal Quad was pretty close. That was on some of the Dodges, but nothing sang like a Quadrajet.
Realistically, back then, if you took the hood off, you would have actually picked up quite a bit.
There's a boy named Lee that used to run with us. He had a 73, I think it's 73 Grand Prix.
It's a big hood.
He picked up 3/10 taking the hood off. 3/10.
Isn't that equivalent to 300 pounds?
Well, a Pontiac is kind of like a big block. It's got so much bottom end, but I don't know if his carburetor might have been too close to the hood. Whatever it was, three solid 10. It was enough. It was enough that every time he come to the track,
the hood off.
All of his buddies get over and took several of them take it off.
Yeah,
because I think it's about 6 foot long and wide and.
I've been a 73 Mustang, and it required 3 of us to put the hood on. 2 of us could take it off, but it took 3 to put it on.
I bet the hood on a 73 Grand Prix weighed close to 200 pounds.
Sure.
Anyway, that was kind of interesting. Now, I
don't envy him.
When you flip your air cleaner upside down, them babies are singing good. Probably didn't help horsepower, period. Who cares? It sounded so good.
Probably not.
Then you'd have a guy come up to you, look you square in the eye, want to race. Did you know I put premium gas in this thing? Okay.
Premium with lead.
No, actually, we used to call it ethyl.
Yeah.
This thing got ethyl in it.
Oh.
There was regular ethyl.
So you're talking about right after.
What?
This is right after. This is when lead was coming out, huh?
Yes, before we had
ethanol.
No, we had leaded gas.
Yeah.
In about 77 or 8, they pulled all. No, 79, 80. They pulled all the lead out. Unleaded is all you could get. It was gone.
What a shame.
Oh, it was terrible. Then the same guy come up and he said, "Hey, Race, I put airplane gas in mine."
I still know people who do that.
And it'll certainly work. 100 low lead.
There's a Honda running around Coleman with a dent spark plug size airplane gas.
Well, it's the airplane gas is similar in consistency to VP.
Sure.
Because every time you buy airplane gas, it's exactly like it was last time. The VP's got that figured out.
Is it? I think we checked it. It was like 114.
No, 100 low lead.
100 low lead.
That's what it is. Now there were several. There was an 87. There was a 100 low lead. There was a 130, 145. It was actually a purple fuel in aviation. That was mainly military stuff.
Yeah, that's I'm not as familiar with that one.
Yeah. And here's another one. This thing runs on E85. And you
And nowadays, that's not impressive.
okay. Now what?
Yeah.
So that's
Now, if you said like nitromethane, that changes things.
it does. It'll double the power.
But E85, you're just like, okay, so you've
Hey,
increased fuel consumption by 30%.
Hey Landon, I got one for you. That thing got NOS on it.
God, that one's died out.
Thank goodness.
How really has.
NOS, or NOS as they called it. The reason it said that it was nitrous oxide systems. NOS, started by a man named Mike Thermos years ago.
You made him a small fortune.
Made him a large fortune. And
I was talking about
he sold
your
it.
personals.
I've used a bunch of it.
Yeah.
Uh,
I've seen your garage.
yeah, we loaded with the babies.
See, look, you talked to me today about getting a garage at my house. I'm afraid that it's going to end up full of nitrous kits because that means you'll have more room to store more.
Duh.
That's the whole reason you're talking
Landon,
about
it was on sale.
it. Yeah.
What do you think? Anyway, if there ever gets to be a nitrous kit shortage we're gonna be rich.
Yeah, so you don't buy stocks, you buy nitrous kits.
Well, you know why I bought them? It's a bargain.
Yeah, fair enough. Hey, what if you needed that one kit and you didn't have it?
You know, we could have the Moon Tune. We could have a thing like it's did.
You know what? I think for our Christmas picture we upload on Facebook, I think we need to do it. Take a picture of it.
I got about.
Do we
4
have
feet.
Do we have enough to do the double stack though?
Oh yeah.
No, I'm talking about not the double stack, the high rise. The high rise with a double stack. Can we do a double Moon Tune?
Yes. If I put the 2 4-barrels on and put the Moon Tune on
both of them.
Well, how about if I just put like 8 or 10 and on?
Just 8 or 10.
Well, you could be. I don't have any gas. It don't have to work. It just has
You
to.
don't have very many Hollies.
Yeah, I do.
Which ones? The
Dominators.
ones you don't have a lot of.
I got 2 of them. Now there's 3. Yeah, there's 1 fuel injection Dominator.
Amateur hour out here. Them rookie numbers.
Well, I know it.
You got to step it up.
Well, there's a pair of split Dominators on the Corvette.
Mm-hmm.
So there's actually Dominickers. I've got Dominickers everywhere. How about that?
Yeah.
Got some more terms that back in the day.
Back in the day, sure.
That thing got double hump heads on it.
See, now I think about that, I was like, that's just outdated.
Well, it's 50s or 60s technology.
Yeah.
Yep. Had about 160 cc intake port. I don't think they produce anything that's that small anymore.
You can get some Chinese heads that would triple the performance compared.
Hey, better than that. The Vortec heads off a Suburban. The R-Code Suburban, it was a 350.
Yeah.
The Vortec head did good. Those things cleaned up with stock type. They had a spec camshaft and with heads could not be ported. These things will make above 400 horsepower.
Yeah.
I mean, a old 350 with double hump heads would not. Here's your one. I got this. We had a Jimmy Gibson, an old friend. He passed away recently. He said, "Yep, my Chevelle had 350 horsepower." Really? It probably had 175. You wishes it had.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah. Anyway, how about this? That thing got a 3/4 cam in it.
3/4 cam.
3/4. There was 3/4 and full race cams. How about that?
See, the double hump heads and the
3/4
cams, I still hear some old guys talking about it.
Better than that, I got double hump heads and I got a Duntov 30/30 cam.
Yeah. Those are some of the things I still hear some old guys talk about. And they try to tell me about how fast it was.
Yeah.
Little do they know that I know how fast it was.
Well, worse than that.
It's terrible.
Well, the roads they had, the tires they had, and the cars they were driving, it felt like you're running 400.
It was terrible.
Yes. This is one.
The Buick that they drive nowadays, absolutely embarrass.
Meemaw's LeSabre.
Yeah, the little Sabre would absolutely embarrass it.
On the way to the buffet.
Yeah.
How about this? Here's your one. 383 stroker.
Those are still popular.
It'll still work too.
Which actually the LS motor is kind of taken over.
Speaking of that thing's LS swapped. It's like LS swap is what you got to say.
Look, instead of the 350, you got a 350 in it. That's a common one.
That thing got a Hemi in it?
No, that thing got a 350 in it.
Uh-huh.
That was common when I was younger.
Uh-huh.
Now it's an LS motor. It's the next generation of 350s.
I agree. So lots of things have happened over the years, and I've enjoyed it. I come up with this thing, got to sitting at the table at my desk and doing this. I thought, good Lord, when I thought about this, I thought about a couple of them. You mentioned, one of the stories you're going to have next week is some surprises I've had. I had a fast car.
Sure.
I'd race 100 times. I wouldn't get outrun maybe 2 or 3 times out of 100.
Okay.
But
it's a good ratio.
Hey, every now and then, of course, you got to be careful what you're picking on.
Yeah.
We only picked on equivalent cars.
Or things you knew you were faster than.
Every now and then, you jump on something, you think, is this thing running? Anyway, we'll have some of those stories next
blew
week.
all the spark plugs out of it. It's the only explanation.
Oh, my goodness. All right, guys, just remember, the older I get, the faster I'm going to be, and we will see you next week on Drag Race Central.